How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast special, where we're going to be talking about some upcoming Euro 2020 games. We've got the end or the tail end of the group stages, and then we've got a couple of knockout fixtures that are already out. With me, as always, is Simon. And we're not going to be running through the recap. We did that in the Best Sports Betting Podcast, so give that a listen if you'd like to hear about some of our thoughts on the last games. We're going to be talking about upcoming games today, and we're going to start off with Croatia versus Scotland. Simon, Scots look pretty good against England, and you've got a cracker of a bet here for us.
Yeah, I mean, after losing to England in their opener, and drawing with the Czech Republic, Croatia, I mean, they have to beat Scotland now, and it's actually funny enough, for the first time ever, if they scored 3 points, if they get all 3 points, it'll be the first time they've ever actually beaten Scotland away from home, which I thought was quite interesting. But yeah, Scotland were really impressive against England. I think they were quite gritty in defence, and I think they thoroughly deserved that draw, as obviously quite massive underdogs. They really kept England at bay there, and look, England did create a lot of chances, but I think that they were quite resolute in defence, and I think if they can play like they did against England, I think they'll have a very good chance against Croatia.
Yeah, also this match is taking place in Glasgow, so even though it's Croatia versus Scotland, this is a home game for the Scots. Something to just remember that if you have not done any match betting research.
Yeah, and based on the way that the Scottish fans turned up in Wembley, I would not be surprised if there's a huge atmosphere in Glasgow tonight. So I think that they've definitely got a decent shot there. Yeah, I've got a nice long shot bet here for this one. I think it's going to start off. It might be quite a low scoring game. I actually see a Scotland sort of 1-0 win. Yeah. And I've taken a halftime, full-time bet here. I got a 200 rand free bet from MG Sports Betting from the US Open, and I'm gonna take halftime draw, full-time Scotland at odds of just over 6-1. As I said, I think that Scotland have a decent shot here, but I think it will be a low-scoring game. So I like them to kind of keep Croatia at bay for the first half and edge it towards the end.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a tight one as well. I think the two sides are very even. Croatia just haven't impressed me. Scotland haven't. Look, they put in a good shift against England, but they also haven't been overly impressive. I do give the Scots the advantage because they are playing at home. I think that's going to be a big factor. I'm surprised to see them as underdogs here, to be honest. So I've gone with Scotland draw no bet, and you're getting even money for that one, 2.08 over on Betway.
Yeah, I mean, it's also worth considering. I mean, Croatia have won just 2 matches in their last 11, and they're just not the side that looked so impressive in the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite easy to sort of hold those memories and remember that Croatia, but they just really aren't that side, and I think they've proved that. It
was also a Croatian side in its twilight. So
absolutely,
I'm not going to be backing them.
I think you're right. I think, look, home advantage always counts, but I do think that the Scots will come out in numbers for this one. I think it's going to be a very jovial atmosphere in Glasgow tonight.
Right, then we've got the other big one, which I think is going to be very popular for punters, and that's Czech Republic versus England. England just looking all over the place. No like danger up front. Kane's looking crap. There's lots of, I don't want to say discontent, but I've been reading some Sterling's not too happy with being substituted, etc., etc. England just not in a good place at the moment, and they're taking on, I don't know, a Czech side that maybe somewhat has been a bit of a surprise, if I can call it that. But what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, well, we mentioned earlier in the other podcast reviewing the previous matches that, I mean, I think the England supporters are definitely getting a little bit impatient with the side. I mean, they've been booing the players, the end of the second half against Scotland. So I just think, look, I think that it's certainly make or break for England here, and I mean, I still think they have a side capable of winning this tournament, quite honestly. I do. I think they've actually got a brilliant side on paper. But, whether they can find that same sort of cohesion like teams like Italy have so early on already is the big question. I mean, going back to what you were saying about Czech Republic, I mean, they beat Scotland, they drew with Croatia, and they they're all but guaranteed a place in the final 16. So I think they're going to go into this one quite relaxed, actually.
Yeah. Well, England are guaranteed a place in the next round, so there's that.
Yeah, so,
it's ridiculous.
So I don't have a bet at this stage, but all I'll say is that I won't be backing England, even if it's in a make or break position.
I think those odds of 1.5 are pretty generous, to be honest. I mean, what were they, 1.3 against Scotland, and they're playing a similar team.
Yeah,
I don't think the Czechs are that much better. Yeah, they beat them 2-0, sure, but I think it's going to be a lot more. The game's going to be a lot more open than the first two games that England played. So I think England could potentially come right here.
Yeah, for me, it's not that look. I don't think the odds are overly generous, or vice versa. I still just think the chance of a draw, you can't write it off.
Yeah.
I could honestly see another 0-0 happening. It's possible. So to me, it's I don't think that those odds are ridiculous by any means. But watching England last week, in their second match, I find it very hard to get behind them.
Yeah, I completely get that, and I think I mostly agree. I think this should be more 2-5. These odds on England.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Playing at Wembley again. There was the heat to consider last time. There was a lot. The last two England games have not been good games, and I mean, are we going to get a third bad game from them in a row? I mean, gosh, it
seems unlikely.
Seems
unlikely. Yeah,
it's a bit crazy thinking. I think England maybe win this one 2-0. I can't take a handicap bet on England at this point because I think there's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah.
So I think that England 1.5 and 1.52 I'm probably going to include in a few accumulators, but I don't have a big view. There's just no value backing England.
Sure. I mean, you could have quite and I'm not sure the odds of this, but it must probably be around 1.3 or so. If you wanted something at short odds, you could maybe take England to win either half, and I think that's probably. That should be a safe bet. That'll probably come in on this one.
Yeah, you've also got high scoring half, and you can go with the second half, and that's 2.2. I think that's also a pretty decent price, and it's something that I'll look at taking further on in the tournament with other matches. But let's jump over to I think what's probably going to be the most entertaining game. I think it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow night. It's the I'm getting a bit mixed. Yeah, the Portugal versus France. Yeah, and Portugal looking very vulnerable against Germany. Made lots of mistakes, but they did pay for that. And France have not been that impressive. They've impressed me. Where I still think they're a solid side. I still think they're probably worthy favourites. They just haven't been putting the ball in the back of the net. I think Benzema's been having a bit of a cane. And the French midfield has been making up for kind of his kind of, what should I say, his lack of goals or lack of shooting and that sort of thing. What are your thoughts on these two sides?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly looking forward to this one. I think it's probably the juiciest encounter of match day 3. I mean, we talked earlier in the previous pod, looking back at that game against Germany. I mean, that was certainly the most exciting game of the weekend. I mean, Portugal did show quite a bit of quality going forward, but they were pretty sloppy in defence.
Yeah.
And as I did mention earlier as well, I mean, I'm not just talking about the own goals, because I think those were a direct result of being under massive pressure from Germany. I think they were a bit loose at the back in general, and they lost the ball far too often from midfield as well. Look, obviously France only managed to a point against Hungary, which was of course a surprise. But they were playing at a jam-packed stadium in Budapest. I mean, there was a lot of Hungarian fans there too, quite an atmosphere. So they'll actually be going back to the same stadium to face Portugal. So this will also be played in Budapest, but this time obviously there will be more equal support for both sides. Look, I mean, there might still be more support for Portugal, but it's certainly going to be less support, more support than when Hungary were playing at home. I don't think that France did anything wrong against Hungary. I mean, they created plenty of chances, and I think that they also forced quite a few saves.
I think there were a couple of goals that were offside as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so. There were. So I must say, I actually quite like the idea of backing France at quite well over evens. against a side. I mean, Portugal's patchy. I think that they're not as resolute in defence as they are going forward. So I must say, I think that you're getting a little bit more value than you would have on France if they'd, obviously convincingly beat Hungary. And I think I'm not saying that I'm not making excuses for them, but I do think that facing Hungary in Budapest with a packed stadium,
a completely full stadium. It wasn't even partially full. It was just, hey, come in. We don't care.
I think it's I almost feel like France are due for a big win here. So I must say I quite like the odds of 2.2, 2.25 on France here. I think that should be close to evens. Yeah,
France have looked very good going forward. Look, they haven't been putting the goals away. They've scored 2 goals in the entire tournament so far, I think. But Portugal just looking at 6s and 7s at the back against a pretty talented German attack, but I think the French attack's even better than what the Germans have to offer. And I think the French defense is a lot better than that of Germany's.
Absolutely. By a long
So I think that's going to be the decider. I think it's going to be a big midfield battle. Ronaldo maybe with a penalty somewhere. I think that's the only way they're going to get a goal. I mean, he's just incredible. That guy just doesn't seem to age, doesn't seem to get any worse. What an amazing player. But it's going to be on him, in my opinion, and I think France win this one pretty comfortably because Portugal are going to have to chase the game. If they go behind early, then I think they can still qualify. I'm not too sure. I need to double check, but there is a way for them to qualify if I remember correctly, and I think it might be winning this match. But they're gonna have to be chasing the game if they go behind. So I think France wins this one. A lot of space is going to open up at the back. Maybe 2-0 France for me. Get their scoring kind of woes out the way as well. So I have to take that price of 2.26. I feel like this is very much like the Denmark-Belgium game from a couple of weeks back, except France aren't playing away. Both sides are playing away from home this time instead of Portugal being at home.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think so. Looking back at the matches reviewed, I think for me, I mean, Scotland draw no bet and a French win, I think look quite solid bets for the upcoming matches, the rest of match day 3.
And then we have the first of the knockout games. We've got Italy versus Austria. Now, Austria qualified. Can you believe it, Simon? With 6 points.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Not too shabby.
Not shabby at all. However, they're coming up against the Italian juggernaut, and Italy is 1.49 for this match. 1.49. It's being played at Wembley. So it is away if it's a neutral venue. But wow, Italy at 1.49 against Austria. I don't know what bookmakers are smoking. I would have this. I would have this a lot lower. Obviously, I can't just say, hey, have a straight up bet on Italy at that price. It's a little low. But I just think this is mispriced. I think this should be more 1.4. Even I know. Look, it's a knockout round and all of that, but money's going to be coming for Italy. I don't know what they're thinking pricing it. So I don't want to say generous, but I mean it's 5 to 10 on the best side in the tournament at the moment against Austria, and who've Austria beaten coming into this match? It's not exactly like they've set the tournament alight by beating the Ukraine, who looked absolutely terrible. And look, they lost 2-0 to a really poor Netherlands side, in my opinion, but that's another story. And then they beat North Macedonia, which I think could have gone either way. Well, not that match, but that fixture. I think this is a bit of a gift here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you make such a good point about what the bookmakers are thinking there, because, we talked about this last week, how, people would have watched that first game of the Euros. So even if you're not a big soccer fan, not a big punter, you would have heard everyone talking about Italy. So they're going to get money for Italy. So you would just think that they would not hang such a juicy price up. Because they're going to get, there's going to be money coming for them anyway. So I agree. I think that that price is certainly inflated, and there's certainly some value in Italy there, even though the odds don't look that appealing on paper.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could be a bit of a told you so. I mean, I just don't see Italy not qualifying after this match. It's chalk and cheese for me. It's a quality side against a very mediocre side. So I'm going to go with Italy here. I don't have a best bet for this one, but I just thought I'd highlight some of my thoughts on why I think they are a good bet. And then the other one we have is Wales against Denmark. Denmark's been surprising, been playing pretty well, especially with the loss of Eriksen And they're taking on a Welsh side that's also been somewhat surprising. I kind of wrote them off before this tournament as also Rams. I didn't think they were going to do too well. But the combination of Bale and Ramsey's worked out quite nicely.
It does.
As they were hoping for, I guess. And Denmark find themselves at 1.82. Wales are heavy underdogs here at 5. I see a win for Denmark or a draw here.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you just said, I mean, I actually tipped up Wales to finish bottom of the group, and I was wrong about that. So, no, I think I must say this looks about spot on to me. I'm certainly not rushing to back Denmark at that price, but you would think that they should get the job done here.
Yeah, look, Denmark. I mean, just looking at their matches, they had that unfortunate 1-0 loss against Finland. The game, I think they missed a penalty there. It was Eriksson went down. That match is just a match that they were expected to win that. But look, there were extreme circumstances in that game. So I almost want to write that fixture off. And then they had a very good spirited performance against Belgium. And that game could have ended in a draw. Denmark looked pretty dangerous. Yeah. And then they went on to beat a very, very underwhelming Russian side. And they beat them 4-1. While on the other side, we've got Wales, who drew with Switzerland, who were also quite a big disappointment this tournament, in my opinion. I expected a lot more from the Swiss. And then they beat Turkey, another side that was just really did not live up to expectations.
Turkey was terrible, yeah.
And then they lost 1-0 to a very mixed Italian side that, they rested quite a few players. It wasn't quite the best Italian side, and then they had that red card, of course. So I think Denmark's the better, but honestly, I think this one's probably going to end in a draw. If there was a match that I would go for like a 0-0 or 1-1, it'd probably be this one.
No, sure, I couldn't agree more.
And so those are my selections for those matches. We've covered 5 of them. Unfortunately, we don't know which teams are going to be playing it in the next ones as of yet. But we do have a couple of bets that we've chatted about. And is there anything else that you would like to have a look at the tournament? You still happy with your outright pick of Italy?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, from a value perspective, most certainly. Look, I mean, I think France are the worthy favourites. I think they still are the worthy favourites. But I think at 9-1, Italy was certainly a good bet, and I mean the way that the odds have come in on them, I think we definitely got some good value there. But just going back to the bets, I think Scotland draw no bet would probably be my favourite of all the upcoming matches, which is playing tonight. What would be your best bet?
Mine's going to be, I'm going to go with the French. They've been like the English side. They haven't quite clicked, but they've looked a lot better getting there.
Yeah.
And I just think that 2.2, it's going to be the same with me in that Belgium bet that I had last week. Was Belgium that gift that they kind of gave us. I feel it's the same here. I can't look past it. It's just the value's too good. I mean, this is a French side that were 1.3 playing in Budapest against Hungary. So.
Yeah, sure.
I like the side. I think that the 12 to 10 2.2 is pretty generous. Maybe take a drawn a bet if you're worried about it, but I think the French win that one pretty comfortably. That's going to be my best bet of the week. I do like some combinations. I like mixing up maybe England combined with your Scotland drawn a bet and throwing Italy on top of that. Maybe France drawn a bet. Maybe that quad would work out pretty well. Yeah. I might take that for a small bet for a bit of an interest one. And I'm still happy with our outright pick on Italy. I see they're 6.75 now. France haven't really moved too much in the betting. Germany find themselves now at 6.7, second favourites. I think that's a little bit crazy. Belgium 7.5. England have drifted out to 8.5. Spain, what's been going on there, Simon? Wow, 10.2 at the moment. It's just the Spanish side is just not really playing well.
They really haven't. I mean, they've been very, very underwhelming. I always just remember looking back on obviously South Africa's World Cup, which we hosted, which Spain won, and just how brilliant that team was.
Tiki-taka.
I know that was obviously a long, long time ago. But they just really haven't looked great in this tournament at all. Yeah,
they've got all the possession, and they're just missing shot after shot and penalties, and they just don't have a striker. There's no Torres. Morata's not playing particularly well. So I'm pretty eager to write them off. But yeah, guys, those are our picks for the upcoming Euro games. We've got a few really nice best bets, and we had a pretty nice round out last time. Hopefully the luck continues for us. But thanks for tuning in. I'm not sure if we're going to be having one for the next round. We'll be having some write-ups, I think, on Best Sports Betting or Betting Guide. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning into our preview. Simon, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.